Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me for the NGSS webinar for October 27th, 2022. I'm Anthony Kwan, your host. I'm also the STEM Science Coordinator here at the LA County Office of Education. As you can see on the screen in front of you, that is the bit.ly link to all of the webinars that's being offered so far. So we've had one in August and now we are in the October one. Today we are going to be talking about some updates and announcements that you need to be aware of. And then I'd like to unveil an EL scaffolding toolkit for science and get some feedback from all of you. And then if there's an opportunity, would love to know what else is on your mind, because I am here to serve you. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the updates and announcements again. And all of these are going to, this slide deck is going to be in that folder for you. And I think I forgot to make the, I forgot to include the links with the images, but I'll try to go back and do that. But if you are on the STEM notes, you should be able to get all of those as well, okay? All right. As far as the updates and announcements, we're going to go ahead and get started. There in the STEM notes, which I think will be revised shortly, there were a series of professional learning around building student sense making that said that these were all 2-day PD sessions. That is a mistake. They are all 1-day PD sessions. And there are 4 strands that I'll be addressing: argumentation, discourse, notebooking, and text. There will be 2 sessions offered, one at the elementary, which is again geared for K through 5, and the secondary 6th through 12th grade. Most of these are going to be held at the LA Zoo, but we will have a few at the Aquarium of the Pacific, and we had one session that's going to be taking place at the California Science Center. So there was one that was scheduled for next week that has been rescheduled and will be rescheduled to December 5th, which is a Monday. So if you're really interested in that, please sign up and register today. That particular one that's on December 5th will be co-hosted by the California Science Center, even though we're at the LA Zoo. All right. But again, these are great strands because these were used at the last professional learning series that happened at statewide. So now that those have been given, the county offices and the partners are now taking those and delivering them as professional PD at our own region or local levels. Coming up also next month, November 9th, we've got the Computer Science Speaker Series. So we've got 5 speakers on the docket. We've already held 2 of them. The one on November 5th is going to be with Professor Jesse Thompson on natural language processing and robotics. It says for elementary and high school, but I believe this might be high school. But again, if you are elementary, please come and join us anyway. When you register, you are welcome to all 5 series. And you can see here in January will be about robot locomotion, and then in February, fairness in artificial intelligence and machine learning systems. All of these are free. And again, once you watch what these professors are doing in their labs, they actually want to offer an opportunity to work with you and their grad team to develop a lesson around their work for use in the classroom. Again, they are looking for that, and there's a possibility that there may be a small stipend available for you for working and interacting with them. And then we'll see, and then we'll have some other additional opportunities, hopefully down the line. Really happy to be working with UCLA's Earth, Planetary, and Space Science Department. We'll be working together to deliver a 1-day live training at the LA Zoo, and then there'll be a virtual follow-up that will be taking place after the end of the school day a month later. This is open to all middle and high school teachers, especially those who are working in Earth, physics, or physical science. And these are, again, open to teachers, TOSAs, and other specialists as well. So please register today. Really excited to have that opportunity to work with real scientists and their grad students as well. And then coming up in just a few weeks, we've got this going on, another free opportunity around computer science. So this is creating engaging computer science experiences, where it's going to be a panel from a school district outside of LA County who have successfully implemented computer science at the K-12 level. And they will be talking to all of us about their obstacles and solutions. Again, it is in the form of panelists, and so you will be able to ask questions as well as get live responses from them. So please register today. For those of you who are local to Rosemead, there's going to be a STEM fair, which is open to everybody this coming Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is to support Girl Scout Troop 1521. No, this is not my daughter. She's not a Girl Scout, but we are supporting the Girl Scouts in this because they are also in collaboration with the Columbia Memorial Space Center, Girls in STEM Club. So come on out and enjoy what's going on. They've very successfully delivered one STEM fair last month, and again, they're going to be repeating this again. All right. Again, if you're not getting the STEM science notes, please feel free to contact me. That way I can make sure that you are on the listserv, and then we'll get all of these out to you. So the STEM science note is a resource or a newsletter that's shared once a month with the latest and greatest information that I can cull through all my emails about. Again, the way that you should be looking at this document is that when you get it, you look at page 1, which gives you the table of content. That's what you're looking at right now. On page 2, will be the highlights, and that's what I think might be most important to you at that moment. If you are, again, also have the time, then you may want to spend some time looking at all the different sections that exist there. And again, if you have something that you'd like to share with me and send out to everybody else, feel free to send that information, and I can include that for next month's STEM science notes. And for those of you who are not already aware, the LA County Science and Engineering Fair, the registration is now open, and they have will be closing the first round of submission for project approvals very quickly. The other thing is that if you aren't aware, the LA County Science and Engineering Fair will be taking place in person again, and it'll be held at the Shrine Auditorium. So more information at the website, www.lascifair.org. And again, if you have any other questions about anything that you're seeing, feel free to reach out. I'll try to get that information out to you as quickly as I can and answer your questions. All right. So the big news today is really about this EL Scaffolding Toolkit for Science. And so I've been able to deliver this at last week's California Association of Science Educators Conference. We got a lot of great feedback. And again, would love to have some of your feedback as well. So what I'm going to go through right now is just kind of go through what we did at the case workshop that was delivered, and then giving you some context about how this scaffolding toolkit might work for you. So we initially just started with having a task, a science task. So with the task, it was to look at this image of an iceberg. And here you can see that only a small portion of the iceberg can be seen above the waterline. So on top of this one, then we also gave an additional resource, which is actually in the folder. And I believe it's called the task, and it's R2 or something like that. But it's a series of 6 images. And then we have participants take a look at those, and then we have them answer the following question of, what do you notice? What do you wonder? And so we kind of just share out what people noticed, what they wondered. And then from that, then we asked them what questions they have. So we shared those, and then we actually went right into an activity, especially because it's a science conference, and this is what it's supposed to look like when you do this in class anyway. So we gave, the task was these 2 cups of water, and one is slightly different than the other. And so people got to do some exploration with this. But initially, just like a classroom, you would have students just observe these 2 different cups. And again, asking the same question of, what do you notice? what do you wonder, and what questions do you have. This then goes into the next task, which is they get to actually manipulate this water. So they'll either add some ice cubes to it, maybe some food coloring to see what would happen. And then from there, again, we ask them, what do you notice? What do you wonder? When they actually do those experiments, we actually encourage people to use their phones. So the slow-mo, maybe the time-lapse recording, but definitely snapshots of what's happening when they do things. And so from here, we then kind of talk about what was easy for them as participants, but then we flip it in terms of what would not be easy for an English learner. What did you notice about the task? And then is there a reason why it was presented this way? So from this, we then actually pull out the actual tool. But before we get to the tool, just wanted to let you know that this tool is kind of based on what's happening in terms of the home language surveys, the data collection that is actually being collected from those home surveys. And then across the state, you can see that the big language is in Spanish, followed by 6 other ones, not Cantonese, Chinese, and specifically, it's when we talk about Chinese, we're actually talking about Mandarin Chinese versus Cantonese Chinese, although the written language are similar in both. Then the other one is Tagalog, Vietnamese, Armenian, Korean, and then I forgot some of the other big major ones. But again, that the language toolkit is actually being designed for all of these students at some point. Right now, we just got the first initial draft on it. And then the draft tool that you will be seeing very, very shortly is also based off of the work of the California English Learner Roadmap, which again takes a look at Principle 1, where we have, as educators, need to respond to students as the students are coming to us with a lot of assets, and we need to respond to their needs as much as possible. The other thing is that we need to also meet Principle 2, which is around the intellectual quality of instruction and meaningful access, which just refers to making sure that these instruction, the activity, the tools, etc., that it's all accessible for students. And so that means that it's going to be working with the speaking domain, just like how the LPAC is really important and going to inform us in terms of what students are needing, especially language learners. So I'll be addressing how we might use speaking domains, the listening domains. And then we also bring up this idea of the ELD standards language wheels, which again ties very closely with those content standards. And we're going to talk about this more in the future. So don't worry if you're not catching everything that I'm saying right now, because we're going to revisit this tool as well as how this is set up for teachers to use in the future. So let's get to it. Let's look at the actual tool. So the tool that you have, again, is in the folder, but the one that we're looking at is the one that you see right in front of you right now. And as you can see, this toolkit is referring to the science and engineering practice of asking questions and defining problems. So when you look at this one, you're looking at the level of fluencies, emerging, expanding, and bridging. And then so you can see underneath it a sample of some potential teacher questions that work for each of these different areas, the emerging, expanding, bridging. And then there's another page where we have a sample of what it might look like in the primary language, in this case, Spanish. And so you can see that we have it for emerging. We don't have it for expanding or bridging, but like I said, as you're seeing right now, it's a draft. So it's actually being developed right now. And then again, we also have these student sentence frames that are, again, for emerging, expanding, and bridging. And then you can see that with the sentence frames, they're color-coded. So you can see, again, blue is referring to the science and engineering practices. And then the ones that are in purple, those are in reference to the nuances that we have to be aware of when we're actually using a vocabulary of this sort with students. some of the major questions that we got are these emerging, expanding, bridging samples, are these supposed to be progressive in nature in terms of this is what it looks like for elementary, this is what it looks like for middle, this is what it looks like for high school? And the answer is no, because this is written for, generally for all students. Because again, you can have a middle school student who's at the emerging, right? And then they progress over to the bridging. Same thing for high school, same thing for elementary. And again, these are not supposed to be used as exemplars of what a good question might look like, as much as it's a sample and allows you, the instructor, to really think carefully about how you're phrasing your questions. And then again, as you saw before earlier, this is what it might look like in that primary language of a student. So we are looking at creating these for all of these science and engineering practices. So you're seeing just this sample right here. But not only are we doing this for the science and engineering practices, we're also doing for the cross-cutting concepts as well. So you can see the same sections or the same setup for the emerging, expanding, and bridging, with the teacher questions in English, followed by what it might look like in the Spanish, the primary, and then again going into some student sentence frames. Now, one thing that we will say about sentence frames is that those student sentence frames are great. What we will also need to address at some point is that if you're going to use sentence frames, you will also need to have that discussion of when do you pull back the use of the sentence frame. Even though student sentence frames are beneficial, continued use of those sentence frames can also become a crutch later on down the line. Right. And so one of the things that we're hoping to do with all of these is to actually create some additional resources. So in the workshop that we are hoping to create, we'll also do some next tasks in terms of actually working with these. And so some of the future things that we're also hoping to build upon is not only the teacher workshops on how to effectively use these toolkit, but we'll also develop, hopefully, an online interactive component so that if you, the teacher, would like some more assistance, you should be able to go ahead and click on something and then get some additional feedback or more information about how to actually use the things. So that's something that's coming down the line. Again, some of the other things that are coming down the line are translating some of these into some of the other major languages. So again, you're seeing Spanish so far. So we're definitely looking at the Chinese, the Armenian, et cetera, et cetera. So that's going to take some time over the course of a couple of years. But all of this stuff will be free of charge. At least the toolkit will be free of charge. As far as the workshops and other things, that's to remain to be seen. But if we are going to be offering the workshop, it will definitely be low cost, and we'll try as much as we can to make it no cost. But I also want to let you be assured that the development of these tools were also developed by actual classroom teachers who are using these in their own classroom. So the main authors of this toolkit are Myra Pasquier from Montebello Unified and Jamie Chow from Downey Unified. Both Myra and Jamie are also members of my local regional team in terms of delivering statewide NGSS training. Myra is also a professor at Cal State Long Beach, where she teaches the Science Elementary methods course there. She is also on part of the Instructional Leadership Corps with CTA. Jamie is not only a teacher in Downey Unified, but she also works with UCLA Science Project, as well as a UCLA teacher ed program as a mentor when needed. So both of these women are extraordinarily strong in their knowledge of NGSS. Myra is also not only a middle school teacher, but she's also worked at the elementary, where Jamie is a middle school teacher, but has also done her time at high school. So we've got the breadth of experience in terms of what K through 12th grade students might need when it comes for English learners. So this project was also under the development and guidance of Sumin Chow, who is the project director of our Multilingual Assistance Services Unit. And then I'm also working with them on that development there. Just to also let you know, for those of you who are elementary teachers, we have this toolkit for science. We also have a toolkit for mathematics, and we'll be doing the same thing as well. And yes, we have already unveiled the math one. So if you're interested in that math one, feel free to email me, but we will be developing some additional resources in terms of professional development and et cetera, et cetera. All right. So I like to actually pause here for a moment and just kind of ask, what are your thoughts about this tool in terms of, are you excited by it? Are you concerned? Or what questions do you have? So feel free to unmute and just kind of ask your questions.
I mean, I'll say I'm excited about it. I know that like teachers always ask for this, and I like that it's going to be developed for each SEP and the CCC. So I think it'll be a strong resource to roll out just to increase the accessibility. So I'm excited.
Thank you so much. And again, as we continue to release more of this draft, we always welcome your feedback. And so we're hoping to release the entire toolkit for science sometime before Christmas. So it's coming soon and coming fast. And so again, once it comes out, we know that it's probably not going to be as perfect as we would like it, but we know that a lot of people are excited about this. And again, that toolkit, once it's released, will be free of charge. And so we're excited to create more tools like this to assist you in your work as we continue to shrink that gap in science for all students. All right. But is there anything else on your mind that you would like to know about, other than there's a lot of money coming down from the state? I'll have more information about that at the next meeting, which is actually going to be taking place December, is it December 13th? I believe it's December 13th from 3:30 to 4:30. And one topic that I'm hoping to also talk to all of you about are the CAST item specifications, or the NGSS item specifications, and more. So, I'm sorry, I'm choked up. But questions from you as I get some water.
I just had a question around, I wasn't in any of the specific meetings, but is the CAST, it will be a part, it will be reported out, but will not be a part officially of the dashboard in 23-24? Is that?
You're correct. So yes, as far as the results, there is not yet an actual NGSS or science dashboard. So the information is, I believe, going to still be part of the college and career readiness indicators, okay? But we are now getting the, I believe we'll soon have the second set of data, which is needed. So we need at least 2 full years of data to develop what that dashboard might look like. And it's not going to come out immediately the year after, as much as maybe 2 years from now before we actually begin seeing what that dashboard might look like. But in the meantime, again, even though that's not yet there, we're still excited to let you know, again, if you haven't heard, that we have, under the Tools for Teachers website, there are lessons that you can use for science at all grade levels. So we have over 65 lessons. A majority of them are elementary, but we have some middle school lessons as well as high school lessons. And don't be surprised, because those lessons may also be used to help develop the interim assessment blocks that are coming for science as well. So we're really excited to see that coming along as well. But those interim assessment blocks will not be ready for this academic year. We might actually see some of that coming out for next academic year. So not this coming spring, but the following spring, we might be seeing the interim assessment blocks for science. And then from that point, they're also going to be creating some, when they say they, CDE and ETS are working collectively together to also create performance task embedded lessons as well. So we're looking forward to see what comes up with that. So hopefully that answers some of the questions that you have with me.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. So do you have any other questions for me?
Nope, not right now.
No? All right. Well, then this kind of concludes today's webinar. It's quick, fast, but again, you have the information, the link to the folder where you can actually see those two samples from the one SCP and the one CC from the toolkit. And then please feel free to try it out and then give us some feedback about what it's like using that. Please give us some other questions or comments in terms of things that we need to continue to think about as well. But again, we're excited to be releasing this toolkit for all of you to use in the next couple of months. So yay! All right, folks. Other than that, have a happy Halloween. I probably won't be seeing you for November, so happy Thanksgiving. And then I look forward to seeing all of you in December. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.